So today I have a highly requested video. This is my concealer routine video. Now, my concealer routine is something that is very sacred to me. It's so important. I am to the point where I cannot leave the house without some kind of coverage. My dark circles are probably my biggest issue with my skin because they're just so stubborn and they're hereditary. So people will be like, oh, you need to sleep more, you need to do this more, you need to... And yes, sleeping does help them a lot, and also a healthy diet helps a lot. Exercise, flushing out toxins and things like that really helps. However, it's not going to take them away. I have been on a hunt for the right concealer routine since I was probably about 13 when they started showing up. The routine I have now, I'm so happy with it. I am actually very happy with the price range and also the quality of the products I'm using. My concealer routine has actually remained pretty consistent recently, but I do keep in mind that if I feel like it's not working anymore or I need a new routine, I'm gonna just change it up. And yeah, so let's get started. So first thing you always want to keep in mind is that this area around here and on your lids, I always conceal. I always conceal underneath, but I also conceal in the inner corners and on the lids. It's just to make my makeup appear better, my eyeshadow to look more pigmented, and also to look a little bit more polished up at top, because I feel like you can really tell if a person's tired if their lids are dark as well. So it's not just here that you have to worry about, you have to worry about, you know, everywhere else. You have to keep in mind that the skin on your eyebrows is different from the skin down here and the skin on your lids. So what you must do is have two different concealers. I'm just going to show you my cream concealers that I have. I have three. I always start out with this one as a base. This one is my Clinique Even Better Concealer in Hazelnut, and I love it so much. I'm almost hit the bottom, so this is probably about $20 at your department store, Dillard's, wherever there's a Clinique stand. You can find it online as well. I swear by this concealer. This is a concealer you must have if you have kind of like my tone. I have very cool toned dark circles, so they might look warm toned to you. However, when I put a cool tone concealer on them, they look gray. You do not want your dark circles to look gray, so you need kind of like a salmony or orangey toned concealer. I always have a little brush like this, concealer brush. Some people just use their fingers. I use my fingers as well to kind of just blend everything in. However, I always use this to get around areas, and I use it especially when I use this product. You always want to look down to your mirror, and I just kind of put this directly on the dark areas. I don't create like a triangle or anything yet. This is just to cover up that redness. And then I take kind of like what's left onto the lid. Some days, if I'm in a rush, this is all the product I'm going to use. It's the only product I use. However, I always like to take it a step further. So this guy used to be my everyday concealer, basically. It's the Glamouflage Heavy Duty Concealer by Hard Candy, and this one is in tan. This used to be my everyday concealer. I just use this all the time, so I realized that it creased so bad, and that's a problem that I have, is creasing, because I do have wrinkles underneath, and I feel like if I do not set this, or if I use just this by itself, it's going to crease and it looks really bad, especially in humid temperatures. I would either use this. This is a great drugstore version, and as long as you set it with powder, it's pretty good. However, recently I discovered this Mary Kay concealer, and this one is the concealer in beige 2. So I will usually just do my base of my Clinique Even Better corrector, and then I will take some of this on the back of my hand, just like that, and on the same brush I'm basically creating a triangle shape. It's just a rough triangle. And this is what really highlights my under eye area, but it's not like a full-blown contouring kind of highlight. It's just a nice subtle highlight that's good for every day. And at this point, I will go back and use my ring finger and just tap it through. I take the leftover on my lids and I bring it up to the brows because this is a light concealer, so it's good for defining the brows as well. Okay, so even though this is pretty good, if you have dry skin, this would also be a good, or if you have more mature skin, this would be a good step to stop at because it does leave a little bit of dewiness. However, since I have oily skin and I do have problems with creasing, I always set with a powder. I used to not like to set with a powder because I was always finding that powders left me so cakey underneath and really accentuated my fine lines and wrinkles underneath. So I actually used to use a Chanel powder and I found that it was really creasing underneath. So I went to the drugstore and I found this Rimmel Stay Matte powder, which the writing has rubbed off. It is in 4 Sandstorm. I used an angled kind of chisel brush just like this because it allows me for better control. Press the bristles together and I just put it on underneath the eye. And this will set my concealer all day, and of course I take it up top. I've also found that some powders do tend to leave darkness down below. However, this one, since it's a translucent powder, it doesn't really alter my color that much, but it is a very good alternative, and no matter how much I put on, it will not leave me cakey. It's just really good at doing its job. Really see how the eye changes and how polished this side of the face looks versus this side. You saw how quick and easy that was, guys. I'm going to do the other eye with my Glamouflage just so you guys can kind of see the difference. So let me do the same routine again.
Neighborhood block, eating sweet potato pie. You're so sweet, oh, when I hold you, girl, it comes back to me, and my family knows you're my sweet potato pie, sweet potato pie. I'm tasting it all over, looking in your eyes, give me some sugar.
There we are, guys. You can see there's really not much of a difference. Perhaps this one looks a little bit more yellowy and this one blends in a little bit more with my skin, but really the difference is minute. The only thing I noticed is that the Mary Kay concealer actually does do its job a little bit better in lasting longer. So the Mary Kay I will choose over the hard candy one just because it lasts longer and creases less. However, the Glamouflage is also a great one. Just make sure that you put a good powder over it. Thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.